Hey, welcome to Hooper's Radar. Watching NBA Summer League has really shown me the crazy potential the 2023 NBA draft class has to go down as one of the best classes ever. I've seen so many players out of this 2023 class already have great performances and show they can make an immediate impact on a team and potentially be an all-star. I truly don't think there's been a draft class this deep in a while with so many guys that genuinely have star potential. With that said, I'll be discussing why I believe this draft class is going to be special and why this could be one of the best classes ever. Let's get into it. A deep draft class is represented by players who will end up having the productive role of an above-average role player, all-star, or superstar. I believe every single pick in the 2023 NBA draft, with the exceptions of those I don't really know much of, will either end up being an above-average role player, all-star, or superstar. I'll be briefly going over every single pick in the draft, those of course that I know information about, and telling you guys which ones I believe will be above-average role players, all-stars, or superstars. So I'll be starting with the first pick and going all the way to 58, skipping the ones I don't know. Starting with the first pick, the Spurs got Victor Wembanyama. I think Victor Wembanyama will be a superstar in this league, has all the tools to do it, has the amazing length, the 7'5" frame, great shot blocker, can handle the ball at his size, can also shoot the ball. Obviously, statistically, he isn't a great shooter, but we've seen the glimpses of how good he can shoot that ball, especially in that game against Scoot Henderson in G League Ignite. And I just think Victor has all the tools to be a superstar in this league. At 2, the Hornets drafted Brandon Miller. I believe Brandon Miller has the potential to be an all-star in this league, has a great offensive skill set, very good shooter, very good defender, can do a little bit more at getting to the rim, but he can also do a little bit of that. And I just like Brandon Miller's upside as a player, bigger forward, can guard and shoot that 3 ball very well. That is very important in today's league, and I believe Brandon Miller has an all-star potential. At number 3, the Blazers drafted Scoot Henderson. I believe Scoot Henderson has superstar potential running all over him. This guy can do everything except shoot the 3 ball efficiently. He isn't a very good 3-point shooter, but he can shoot the hell out of the ball in the mid-range, has very good vision as a point guard, is super athletic, and can get to the rim at any time he wants and at any will. I just love Scoot Henderson's upside, and he can be a superstar in this league for sure. At number 4, the Rockets drafted Amen Thompson. Great guard with a lot of upside as well. Very big at that guard spot, being 6'7", 6'8". Has great playmaking, great vision, very good defensively, super athletic, and I just love Amen Thompson's upside. I think he could be an all-star in this league. At number 5, the Pistons drafted his brother, Ausar Thompson. Similar to Amen Thompson, is very versatile. I like Ausar Thompson. He's been balling in the Summer League very recently. This guy can rebound, can be an absolute pest on defense, will hustle, can score the ball, can shoot better than his brother, and is also just as athletic. He also has a little bit of playmaking to him. I've seen some good on-ball things with the Pistons in Summer League, and he can just do a little bit of everything, and I think he can be an all-star in this league. He's shown me a lot of glimpses of it. At number 6, the Magic drafted Anthony Black. I think Anthony Black can be a very above average role player in this league. He seems like a very good glue piece type of guy. Athletic guard, isn't a very good shooter, but has very good playmaking and is also a very good defender. He's also one of those bigger point guards at that 6'7", 6'8" frame. And I think Anthony Black could be a very good either backup point guard or just a very good starting point guard at his role and getting others involved. At number 7, the Pacers drafted Bilal Coulibaly, but he obviously ended up going to the Wizards. I think Bilal could be an above-average role player. I've just seen a lot of great defense out of him. He's still very raw offensively, and I have to see more from him on the offensive side. But I like his upside as defender, and he can be definitely a productive role player in this league. At number 8, the Wizards, who had originally drafted Jarace Walker, ended up sending him to the Pacers, and they got Bilal. I think Jarace Walker could end up being an above-average role player as well in this league. He just has all the tools to be a great 3-and-D guy, has great defense, great rebounding, can obviously block shots, can also shoot the 3 ball, and I've seen great glimpses from him in the Summer League with the Pacers. I like Jarace Walker. I think he has great above-average role player potential in him. At number 9, the Jazz drafted Taylor Hendricks. Haven't seen really much of him in the Summer League. With that said, I'm still going to say he's going to be a very above average role player. Has the 3-and-D type written all over him. Can shoot very good from 3, plays good defense, rebounds the ball, blocks shots at that forward position. I just like Taylor Hendricks a lot, and he's going to be a very good glue piece for a contender team in the future. At number 10, the Mavericks originally drafted Cason Wallace, but we all know he ended up going to the Thunder. I like Cason Wallace. I think he's going to be an above average role player in this league. Similar to a little bit more of a watered down type of Drew Holiday. Very good defensive guard, has shown good glimpses of being able to shoot the ball and handle the ball and play make on that side. I like Cason Wallace. that Thunder backcourt is very crowded, so I don't know how much opportunity he'll get, but I think he has very good role player potential in this league and just does a lot of the right things. At number 11, the Magic drafted Jett Howard. I think Jett Howard has above average role players as well. He doesn't do a lot of great things, but the best thing he does do is shoot the 3 ball, and he's shown a lot of that in the summer league. I like Jett Howard a lot. Jett Howard does have weaknesses getting to the rim. He is very bad on defense, but Jett Howard is going to be a very good type of bench scorer. I think he'll be a good like microwave scorer as a 6-man, and I think Jett Howard will be a very above average role player in this league. At number 12, the Thunder had originally drafted Derek Lively, but we obviously know they got Cason Wallace instead, sent Derek Lively to the Mavericks, who need that rim protecting center, and I like Derek Lively a lot. Leaves a lot to be desired on the offensive side, but defensively he's got it. Great rim protector, can move his feet, was absolutely blocking shots at Duke. Great rebounder as well, has shown some promise. I like his form on the 3-point shot, and I think he could eventually be a very good stretch 5 in this league. But I do think he's going to be an above average role player. Just doesn't give me too much promise as an all-star offensively, but has the defensive prowess to him. At number 13, the Raptors drafted Grady Dick. Grady Dick, great shooter. I don't believe he's going to be an all-star in this league. I think he'll be a great above average role player in this league. Obviously a great shooter, great catch and shoot guy. He's shown some glimpses of shot creation, but I think he'll most likely be a more catch and shoot type of guy. Kind of that 15 point per game, Kevon Huerter type of guy. Not exactly a bum, not exactly just an average player, more of an average role player, like close to all-star, but not there exactly. And that's where I have Grady Dick at. At number 14, the Pelicans drafted who I believe is the best shooter in this class, Jordan Hawkins. Jordan Hawkins is just an absolute sniper. That guy is a great shooter. I think Jordan Hawkins can actually be an all-star in this league. He's shown a lot more besides being a great catch and shoot shooter. He's shown some on-ball things, some mid-range. He can get to the rim at times when you expect him to shoot. And I just believe he's going to be an all-star in this league, and he has the potential to definitely do it with such a great jump shot. At number 15, the Hawks drafted Kobe Buffkin. And at the moment, I don't exactly know where I'd place Kobe Buffkin, but from what I've seen from him, he's a very good guard at getting to the rim. Obviously, it leaves a lot to be desired on the, on the shooting side. He's a decent defender. I like Kobe Buffkin. I like his upside a lot. I do think he's going to end up being an above average role player in this league, though he does have a lot to figure out. At number 16, the Jazz drafted Keyonte George, who I believe was an absolute steal at this pick. Keyonte George, who I've known for a while, was obviously had his inefficiency struggles at Baylor, but everything that the scout report said would be an issue has obviously been a strength for him. He's always had a playmaking chip to him that I believe not everyone has seen, but has been a great playmaker so far in Summer League and has shown great flashes of being an on-ball point guard and just so much vision. He can shoot the ball very well, has the ability to be a good defender, but I think he has a lot to be desired still on that side and can get to the rim. Athletic guard. I just like his shot creation. He's a 3-level scorer in my opinion. I think he has all-star type of potential. I think he'll be an all-star in this league. At number 17, the Lakers drafted Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think Jalen Hood-Schifino will end up being an above-average role player in this league. He doesn't have the greatest three-point ball. He's pretty good in the mid-range shot, good in the pick and roll, has good vision as a on-ball point guard, and has a good floater game. Jalen Hood-Schifino will be a solid guard in this league, and I believe he'll be an above-average role player. At number 18, the Heat drafted Jaime Jaquez Jr., a player I'm very big on. Obviously, I did make a video on him being the biggest steal in the draft, and I'm going to stand on that. I think Jaime Jaquez will be one of the biggest steals in the draft, if hopefully not the biggest. And I just like his upside. He plays like a Jimmy Butler type of game. He's good at the rim. He's a post scorer, can play solid defense. He's more athletic than it shows, and I think Jaime Jaquez in this league will be an above-average role player. Although I do have him as one of the biggest steals in the draft, it's his play style, and I feel like he plays more to win than to be out there and put up numbers. And I think he'll be a very above-average role player, maybe even a perennial all-star, and that's where I have Jaime Jaquez Jr. at. With the next pick in the draft, the Warriors selected Brandon Podziemski at 19. Very big player, had a very big season at Santa Clara, can play make, has very good floater game, can also shoot the ball, plays at his own pace type of guard. And I think Brandon Podziemski will end up being an above average productive role player in this league. He's not the flashiest guy, and he doesn't really look too much to put himself ahead of others. He looks more to get others involved and get his own after. And that's why I think Brandon Podziemski will be an above average role player. Just a great glue piece, I think, to the Warriors. Good pick for them. At number 20, the Rockets drafted Cam Whitmore. I love Cam Whitmore. Obviously has a bit of tunnel vision, but He's just a very talented scorer, super athletic at that 6'7" small forward spot. Can also shoot the three ball, can create his own shot, can rebound the ball. Has shown these decent glimpses of being a good defender, but most of his upside comes on the offensive end. And I think he has offensive type of potential and just all-star potential. I think this guy just is a very good scorer and is going to be a very good scorer in this league as an all-star. At number 21, the Nets drafted Noah Clowney. Don't know much about him. I know he's a big man, but I'm going to have to skip on this one. Don't know much about him. At number 23, the Blazers drafted number 22, the Nets drafted Dariq Whitehead, back-to-back picks. I've seen Dariq Whitehead, very good three-point shooter, solid defender, can get to the rim at times. Obviously, he's injured. I think he might miss some time for the Nets, but I think Dariq Whitehead will end up being a productive, above-average role player. Obviously, that 3-and-D type of guy for the Nets or whatever team he is on his career. At number 23, the Blazers drafted Kris Murray. Keegan Murray's brother has a very similar skill set to Keegan Murray. Was a 20-point-per-game guy at Iowa. And I like Kris Murray. Can play solid defense, can score in the post, can shoot the three ball, can do a little bit of shot creation for himself, similar to his brother. And I like Kris Murray, but similar to his brother from what I've seen from his rookie year, they do both have all-star potential, but I do believe they will both, due to situations and more of like they're more like glue pieces, they will end up being above average role players in this league and maybe potentially all-stars, but I'm going to stick to above average role players for now. At number 24, the Kings originally drafted Omax Prosper, Olivier Maxence Prosper, but he obviously went to the Mavericks. Don't know much about him, so I'm going to skip him. The Grizzlies drafted Marcus Sasser. I don't know the most about Marcus Sasser. I do know he is a pretty good shooter, and he did go to the Pistons. He has had his struggles in Summer League. I believe he'll be an above-average role player in the NBA, just a pretty good scorer, maybe a bench type of scoring guy. That's why I just have him at above-average role player. At number 26, the Pacers drafted Ben Shepherd. Don't know much about him. Skipping. 27, the Hornets drafted Nick Smith Jr., a shot creation type of guard. Needs the ball on ball. Gives me a Bones Highland type of a Bones Highland type of player skill set. I like Nick Smith. He had a very big game the other day in Summer League alongside Brandon Miller, and I think he's going to end up being an above-average role player in this league. I've just seen a lot of guards type of his frame, his skill set, have all-star potential, but ultimately end up being above-average role players. And he is on a team that won't really give him the potential to be that all-star, I believe, with LaMelo Ball in there. And with so many guards in that Hornets roster. But I just believe Nick Smith has a very good offensive skill set, but will just end up being an above-average role player. At number 28, the Jazz drafted Bryce Sensabaugh. Don't know much about him. I'm going to go to 29. The Pacers drafted Julian Strawther. I watched a lot of Gonzaga's game. I like Julian Strawther. Julian Strawther did end up going to the Nets, obviously traded. Julian Strawther is a very good shooter, can make some offense, can hit some big shots. And I like Julian Strawther a lot for the Nuggets. I think he'll be a very good role player, a very good bench scorer if you need him to, similar to Bruce Brown, maybe play a Christian Braun type of role. Isn't the best defender, but is a bigger forward, 6'7", I believe, and can shoot the lights out of that ball. And I believe he'll be a very above-average role player in this league. At number 30, the LA Clippers drafted Kobe Brown. I know he did have recently a very big game the other day. Don't know much about him, but I think he'll end up being a very good player for the Clippers. At number 31, first pick of the second round, the Pistons drafted James Nagy, who ended up going to the Hornets. I don't know much about James Nagy. At 32, the Pacers drafted Jalen Pickett, who actually ended up going to the Nuggets. Don't know much about him either. At 33, the Spurs drafted Leonard Miller. I do know much about him. This was a double-double type of guy. Leonard Miller did end up going to the Timberwolves, traded during the draft. I like him a lot. He's had a couple of big games in the Summer League and is just very good defensively, can shoot the three ball, can rebound well, can score in the paint. I think this was an absolute steal, and I don't know how I don't know how he fell in the draft. This guy was playing next to Scoot and was averaging nearly as many points as Scoot. I believe they average both about 18, and Leonard Miller is just a very good all-around player. I like him a lot for the Wolves, and I think this is an absolute steal. I think Leonard Miller, in my opinion, has all-star potential. For the next pick in the draft, the Hornets drafted Kobe Jones, who would get traded to the Kings. Don't know much about him. 35, the Celtics drafted Julian Phillips, who ended up going to the Bulls. Don't know much about him either. At 36, the Magic drafted Andre Jackson Jr., who ended up going to the Bucks. I like Andre Jackson Jr. I think he was a very good glue piece for that UConn team that I believe he played for. Just a very good player. I think he'll be an above-average role player, does a good amount of the right things, and is a hustler. At number 37, the Thunder drafted Hunter Tyson. He ended up going to the Nuggets. Don't know much about him. At number 38, the Kings drafted Jordan Walsh, who the Celtics ended up acquiring. I think this is an absolute steal for the Celtics. The Celtics got a 3 and D guy who I believe is going to be a very productive player in this league. I think he's going to be an above average role player. He's shown me a lot of potential I didn't know he had with the Celtics in Summer League. He's shown me some shot creation, some 20-point games that I didn't know were in him. He didn't do a lot of that shot creation on ball stuff at Arkansas. He was more of a 3 and D, I'll guard the best player type of guy, get rebounds, do all the small things type of player at Arkansas. And he's just shown me more potential than I thought he had. But with that said, I got to see a little bit more before I put him in the all-star potential category. I'm going to say he's going to be a very above average 3 and D guy and potentially contribute to the Celtics contending. At 39, the Hornets drafted Mohamed Gueye, who went to the Hawks. Don't know much about him. At 40, the Nuggets drafted Maxwell Lewis, ended up in the Lakers. I don't know much about him either. At 41, the Hornets drafted who I believe will be another steal in Amari Bailey. Obviously, the Hornets are crowded with a ton of guards. Amari Bailey is going to be one of them. Amari Bailey has shown great shot creation, ability to get to the rim, good speed, also underrated playmaking, and he was a very good player at UCLA. Played a more reserved role, but was still very important to their offense. And I think Amari Bailey has the potential, in my opinion, to be an all-star, but will end up being an above-average role player just because he still has a good amount of things to work on. And I think he could be like a 6-man type of microwave scorer off the bench who can give you like 17 off the bench and just be a very above-average role player, perennial all-star type of guy. At number 42, the Wizards drafted Tristan Vucevic. I don't know much about him. At 43, the Blazers drafted Ryan Rupert. Obviously, as a Blazers fan, I do got to know about our picks, all our picks. And Ryan Rupert is more like a defensive guy. We drafted him based off of length. We think he has that Mikal Bridges type of set, that type of skill set hopefully he'll develop into, but we drafted him because of that Mikal Bridges type of frame. Very long wingspan forward. Showed a lot of upside. Capable of shooting the ball at times, but has just been very mediocre in Summer League. He's a very big project for us, but he does have very good defense. He showed that in the league he was playing for overseas. But he's just a very project player. I think he'll end up being an above average role player in this league. At the next pick, the Spurs drafted Sidi Sissoko from the G League Ignite. Don't know much about him. 45, the Grizzlies drafted Gregory Jackson II from South Carolina. I heard Gregory Jackson was a very good defensive guard. That's about all I know about Gregory Jackson. And I think he'll be a very good above average role player for this Grizzlies, a defensive guy off the bench that they need. At 46, the Hawks drafted Seth Lundy. Don't know much about him. Lakers drafted Mojave King off 47, who ended up going to the Pacers. Don't know much about him. At 48, the Clippers drafted Jordan Miller, who was a big part of the making that run to the Final Four, if I'm not mistaken. He was a very big piece, was that starting forward, has solid shot creation, good post moves, has good footwork. I like Jordan Miller a lot. I think he's a steal for the Clippers. Has shown a lot of potential shot creation wise, solid defender, solid rebounder, and I think Jordan Miller will be an above average role player in this league. At 49, who I think is a absolute steal, the Cavaliers drafted Imani Bates, who has been a long time coming to the NBA, and we all knew he would make it someday. Obviously, had his struggles in Memphis. His draft stock lowered a lot as he was drafted 49. Big steal. I think he's going to be one of the best shooters in the league. He's already shown so much catch and shoot potential in the Summer League, being able to catch that ball and shoot it within a second and just wet the shot. And I like Imani Bates a lot. He's shown a lot of upside as a shot creator. Call me crazy, but he's got a Kevin Durant type of potential in my opinion. Obviously, I do think he needs to get a little bit stronger. His wingspan is a bit shorter compared to his height, but he can still block shots, as we've seen, rebound the ball. Very good, just very good shot creator, has a very great offensive skill set, and I think Imani Bates has all-star potential in this league. At number 50, the Thunder drafted, who I believe is another steal, Keontae Johnson. Very good, I believe he was a guard/forward at Kansas State. Very good. He obviously had the problems at UF where he almost didn't come back to play college basketball, and he went from not almost coming back to Kansas State, absolutely balling next to Marquise Noel, having the Kansas State make a deep run to now being drafted by the Thunder. He's shown very good shot creation upside, good rebounding, finishing at the rim, and I like Keontae Johnson a lot. I think he's an absolute steal, and I think he has above average role player potential in this league. At 51, the Nets drafted Jalen Wilson, who I believe is another steal. Obviously a vet from college. He played for Kansas, played a big role in Kansas winning that championship the year before his I believe he played 3 years at Kansas, but he did win a championship the year before his last year there before he got drafted, and he was just a big part of them winning. Very good forward, good inside scorer, can shoot the three ball a bit. I just like his all-around game, and he was a 20-point per game guy at Kansas. I like him. I think he'll end up being an above-average role player in this league. At 52, the Suns drafted Toumani Camara. Don't know much about him. 53, the Timberwolves drafted Jalen Clark, an absolute pest defensively. Great defensive guard at UCLA. Was a big part of them being very good during the season. Obviously got injured come March Madness time. He was injured, so I believe that's why his draft stock also fell a lot. But I think once he gets healthy, this is a very good glue piece guy. Very good defensive guard. Obviously didn't play a lot of minutes early in his career at UCLA, but absolutely thrived when he did play minutes. And I just like this pick for the Timberwolves. They got a steal, I believe, in this one. At 54, the Kings drafted Jalen Slauson. I don't know much about him. At 55, the Pacers drafted Isaiah Wong, who I believe is another steal. One of the most important players on that team, arguably the best player on that team in that finals run, in that Final Four run. He's just a great shot creating guard, is a little bit more athletic than the eye shows, can score from all three levels, he can get to the rim, has a very smooth jumper, can also create a shot on the mid-range, and I believe he had a very good game for the Pacers the other day. I just think he's an absolute steal at that guard position for the Pacers. And I think he, in my opinion, call me crazy, I believe he has all-star potential in this league. I just like him as a shot creator. I just think he has to be sometimes more aggressive at getting to a shot. But I think he has the skill set to have all-star potential in this league for the Pacers. At number 56, the Grizzlies drafted Tariq Biberovic. Don't know much about him. 57, the Wizards drafted Trace Jackson Davis. I believe this was the center for Indiana. This guy was a double-double machine, blocked a lot of shots, and I think this is an absolute steal. The Warriors ended up getting him as he was traded on draft night. And I think this is an absolute steal. Had a pretty good game in the Summer League the other day. Just a good steal. The Warriors need big men because they absolutely never seem to draft or acquire guys that are above 6'9". And I think this is an absolute steal for the Warriors. I think Trace Jackson Davis has very above average role player potential in this league. And at number 58, the Bucks drafted Chris Livingston. Don't know much about Chris Livingston at all. That wraps up every single pick in the draft. I classified them all depending on whether they'll either be an above average role player, all-star, and superstar. Obviously, time will tell. We haven't gotten a huge sample size for all of these players on what they can be in this league. Obviously, there still is a lot more to be desired. They all have a lot of development to go through, but this is me going the 2023 NBA draft class and why I believe we'll be going down as one of the deepest NBA draft classes ever. Just every single pick in this draft has potential. I'm sure even the ones I didn't speak about because I don't know have much potential. And I hope you guys see how deep this draft class could end up being, and hopefully it ends up panning out. So I hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more content like this, please make sure to like and subscribe to stay on the radar for all things basketball.